Hello and welcome back to another episode of Who's This Guy? The only show on YouTube where we look at racing games and Starfield and Mario and then every now and again Peppa Pig. On today's episode though, I thought we'd take a quick detour from all that and talk about a game that really blew my mind when I first played it back in the golden days of the Xbox Live Arcade. Is it still good? Does it hold up? Is this spider still scary as shit? It's Limbo. Chapter 1. What a time to be alive. If you were playing games between 2004 and 2012-ish on a Microsoft console, chances are you thought the Xbox Live Arcade was pretty groovy. Suddenly we had a world of gaming content at our fingertips to download and piss off our families by using up the internet data cap on the first day of the month. Sorry guys, we're going at 1.6 megs for the rest of the month because I definitely need this blurry trailer of Saints Row and the new FIFA demo. Look how different it is to last year's one. It's got motion technology this time around. Oh, and I need to get Zoomer, obviously. It was pretty overwhelming having all this content, but also really awesome. And buying games became dangerously easy. I no longer had to walk for 45 minutes up to my local EB game shop and pile on my coins and bubblegum wrappers and Pokemon cards onto the counter and say, is this enough to get Batman Dark Tomorrow on the GameCube, please? Console games were now just a download button away. And we got some absolute classics out of the arcade, like Geometry Wars, Bastion, Braid, Trials, freaking Portal even came to the party. Yeah, there was a truckload of garbage on the service, but overall, it really just felt like we were being flooded with amazing experiences. In amongst all this glitz and glamour came a little indie darling from Danish developer Playdead Studios, and what an amazing studio name. My standard operating procedure in any social situation. Sam. Sam. I think he died. Yes, here was Limbo. And where other games on the service were bright, cheery, and colorful, Limbo was like, fuck that. Check out this kid dying. He's getting torn to pieces. Big scary spiders. Strange teenagers trying to assault you. Oh, also, it's black and white, and it's bleak and dark and depressing as hell. Enjoy. Chapter 2. Let's do the Limbo. Not the fun kind. The depressing and fall down a pit kind. I feel like at this stage, even people that haven't played Limbo have probably at least seen footage of it and gone, man, that kid's got a big head. As someone grew up being teased and called box head a lot, I can relate. Oh, it's such a sad story. Anyway, we wake up in the forest and then we run to the right for about 3 hours, depending on how good you are at pushing boxes and solving puzzles and not falling into pits and getting your head cut off, getting shot and getting squashed and drowning and breaking just about every bone in your body. Yes, Limbo is super duper violent. And when you combine these gruesome deaths with the striking black and white film aesthetic and the really sparse music, you've got an experience that is lonely, bleak, and at times pretty freaky. Nope. Yeah, arachnophobes might want to steer clear of this one. Although maybe it'll help you overcome your fear. I mean, when you end up using the dead body of this thing as a literal step ladder, it makes the tiny spiders around your house seem a lot less menacing. This spider isn't the only obstacle you'll have to defeat over the course of your adventure. The world's fastest acting drowning puddles. I didn't even know that was a thing. And also highly suspicious teenagers. Looks like they'll be staying off my lawn for the foreseeable future. Probably the biggest challenge here though are the puzzles. These start out pretty simple, and then by the end of the game I was basically upside down on the couch trying to figure out what to do next. Most of these are pretty smart in that they give you a little taste of the new mechanic before throwing the full-blown challenge at you, which for a dummy like me is much appreciated. I will say that things can get frustrating towards the back half of Limbo. There's a few of these puzzle platformy set pieces that require really precise timing and some button prompts that require pixel perfect positioning. Fortunately, there's pretty pretty reasonable checkpointing going on here, so even if you might have to retry these like a billion times, at least you don't have to travel far to do so. Anyone that completed these sections the first time through without dying is either a liar or some kind of super gamer. Can you please come over to my house and help me with this race in Paw Patrol GP? I'm having a really hard time with this. So on paper, Limbo is pretty standard platformy, puzzly fare. The thing that really pulls Limbo all the way together though is the presentation, because Jiminy Jillica's radioactive, man. Look at this thing. Chapter 3. Here's looking at you, kid. You've probably noticed by now that Limbo has a really astounding art style that makes you feel like a real pretentious smarty pants while you're playing through it. The black represents a certain type of sadness, while the grey represents another certain type of sadness. Seriously, this thing is pretty mind-blowing to look at even today, almost 14 years after it released. I love how the rain looks like scratches in film stock, and how when you die and respawn at the previous checkpoint, it's kind of like a jump cut thing happening, like they've spliced film footage. It's really cool. The biggest achievement of these visuals though is to impart a heavily weighted, oppressive atmosphere on every moment of this game. Everything feels grim and hopeless and mysterious. There's moments where you get these glimpses at a bigger world and you go, and then it's back into our little nightmare diorama once again. I will say that the first half of Limbo looks way more interesting than the second half. The start of our adventure has us traveling through windswept and then rain-soaked forests and a seemingly abandoned city. But this is all replaced about halfway through by generic industrial machinery and some pretty rote kind of factory-looking settings that just don't get the imagination firing in the same way that the first half of the game does. However, all of this is pretty much forgiven when you experience this moment when you get spat out of the industrial area at the end, break through this surface, and then we wake up in this forest area that looks suspiciously like the area we started the game in. And then the little girl's here. Is she our sister? Is she dead? Are we dead? What's going on? What does it all mean? Chapter 4. What does it all mean? One of my favorite things about Limbo is just about everything here in terms of the story is implied rather than told. This is something that Playdead Studios and team members would continue to build upon in their future titles, sometimes absolutely crushing it, and at other times fumbling massively. I actually kind of love Somerville despite the fact that it's a huge mess. The ending of Limbo in particular has garnered a bunch of theories over the years, but let me just say that when you finish the game, on the title screen you can now see your dead body along with the little girl's dead body, which makes me think that we were dead the whole time and this whole thing was like our way of trying to resolve something with our sister. But I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't know. Theories below, please. All I really know is that Limbo is special. I think history has been a little bit unkind to it at this point because so many games have followed in its wake and have attempted to do the same thing that it did. And they've built upon the mechanics and the storytelling in a way that can at times make Limbo seem simplistic and rote by comparison. And yeah, I still maintain that the first half of this game is kind of a masterpiece, and then it's really let down in the second half by the level design. Aside from, of course, that beautiful, incredible ending sequence. But is it worth going back to? Well, you do need some tolerance of pushing boxes and repeating checkpoints and dying over and over and over and over. But yeah, 100%. If you haven't played Limbo before, you should absolutely have a go at it. Even though I've pretty much spoiled everything about it today. Sorry. And what about if you're like me and you've played quite a bit of it? Is it worth going back to? I think the answer is yeah. It's quite fascinating to go back to now after playing games like Inside and Somerville and seeing the evolution of those ideas and where that all came from in the first place for these guys. So that's Limbo. Fairly standard puzzle, platformy kind of stuff that's massively elevated by its incredible visuals and wonderfully executed atmosphere. What an amazing little thing. Thanks so much for watching my video, everyone. I'm just here rambling about video games. Aren't they fucking awesome? If you'd like me to take a look at anything else in particular, please let me know below. If you've enjoyed this little video about Limbo, I think you'll probably enjoy this one here as well, so check that out if you liked it. My name's Sam. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.